Good morning. Cindy here, and today it is April 1st, and it's beautiful outside. It's a little overcast. It is a perfect time to to video and to plant some things. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm here in front of my raised bed, and I always put zinnias in these beds. So I have two kinds of zinnias. I have just the big, they're about 4 to 5 inches. We call these the California Bennery Giants. And then these are the cactus mix zinnias. So these are just two fun zinnias that really put on a big show back here. Another thing I'm going to do is I've had these coconut car baskets uh, hanging around, and I wanted to give you guys a tip on what to plant in them that are super tough, that are not going to require you to keep watering them every single day. So I'm going to give you a little tip on that. And the other thing I'm going to do is fertilize my ferns using some Epsom salt. So this is just from the grocery store, the Dr. Teal's. It doesn't matter what you get. This is also called magnesium sulfate, and you put a couple of tablespoons in water, and I'm going to go around and water all of my beautiful ferns and give them a little pep start because they seem a little, they're just still, having a hard time coming back from being in the garage. Okay, so let's get started. And I wanted to show you that you do not have to have a fancy raised bed to put your zinnias in. These are zinnias that I put in 2 years ago, and they are reseeding all over the place, along with some sunflowers. So put your zinnias in, enjoy them, keep them watered, and you get a surprise every year. So when I first planted these zinnias, all I did was take a shovel and kind of dig around and loosen up the soil about 4 to 5 inches deep. I threw in some compost, I mixed that in, and then I planted the seeds, watered them well. This has drip irrigation tubing going through it. And in no time, I had some beautiful zinnias. So one of the first things I'm going to do before I start putting in the zinnia seeds is I'm going to lay down some drip irrigation tubing. And let me get a little closer for you to see. This tubing has holes in it about every 18 inches, and you just lay it in centrifugal circles, and then I'll show you how you connect the ends. It's super easy. And I get all my irrigation supplies from dripdepot.com, and I'll leave a link here down below in the description box. All of the parts, there's just a few things you need. You need straights and maybe some angles if you need to make a sharp turn, and some end closures to the tubing. So I just love this stuff. I have it all over my whole property. It makes watering so much easier. And you can go on vacation. You can get a timer for these things if you want. And you really can set it and forget it. Okay, so let's keep going. So I wanted to show you where this all originates. So here is my raised bed. Don't mind the wheelbarrow. And we have a tube going down the raised bed. We put this in before we filled it with dirt, but you could do it afterwards if you need to. And then it goes underneath this gravel, and it goes right into this faucet. And my husband used PVC to add these faucets all the way towards the back of the yard. So if I pan over here, you can see there's the house, and there is the faucet on the side of the house. So he took PVC pipe, and he just put a really long white plastic PVC pipe all the way out here, and he added a faucet to it. Isn't he clever? And if you can see down here, there's an end cap with a closure here, and this is, so in the wintertime, we take this cap off, and then he opens that all the way up. He opens this all the way up, and make sure all the water has drained out. And now we have closed it back up and we're ready to start using it again. And I spray painted all of the PVC pipe brown because I didn't like all the white. Anyway, we have it attached to a timer, and there's 4 connectors. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one goes to the right and it waters my red tip photinias. And then this one is going to nothing right now. This one is going to the raised bed, and this one waters a different flower bed. So this is the one I want to talk about. So this one goes underneath the gravel, right about there, and it heads right into the raised bed. And now let me show you inside here. I've kind of dug a little hole. You can see here is the tube that's coming from the ground, and it goes straight up about 2 feet, goes straight up on the inside. And then we have this T connector, so it connected to this, and I have a left and a right. So that way I have a tube going this way and a tube going this way. And these tubes are they have no holes. These are just carrying tubes. They bring the water to whatever you're watering. So if I go back here again and show you, these do not have holes in them. So when you order from dripdepot.com or wherever you get your irrigation tubing, you're going to get quite a bit of tubing with no holes to carry the water where you need it. And then you get tubing with holes to actually do the dripping of the water. So I hope that makes sense. And I'm also going to leave another link here in the description box of how I do this. I have a really good video that I think is very helpful to show you how I do this. So today I'm just going to quickly do this. I'm not going to give a whole lot of instruction, but it is quite easy. So this is the tubing I had in here the last few years, and it is drip, but it's just really, really skinny, and I just wasn't happy with the amount of water I was getting to my plants. So now I'm going to go ahead and just use what I use in all my other gardens. This is the 1/2 inch. And I was going to show you the connectors. This is what you get at dripdepot.com. These connectors, you hook the tube onto the end, and then you screw down this part here, and it really locks it tight. And then you do the same on the other end. So that is really nifty and very easy for me to do. This is a T. You get it going 3 directions, and then the end. So then this way you finish off here, you screw this down, and the water stays put. And then another nifty tool that I have, but it's really not necessary, is this little cutter. It's a really great way to cut these tubes efficiently, but you could use all kinds of things for cutting. This tubing is not that difficult to cut. All right, let's get started, and I'm going to really quickly add irrigation to these 3 little beds. Here we go. All right, so I am going to cut this one right here. Isn't that neat? And I'm going to add a T. And I can, if it won't go in very easily, you can heat up the end with a little flame, but we'll see. Try really hard not to get dirt in this, because that's not a good thing. All right, so I'm going to shove it in. And after you've pushed it in as hard as you can, and it's in about 1/2 inch, then you take the Loctite part and you screw it over, and it just really clinches down on this little section here, and that makes it just almost impossible to get off. Now I'm going to do the other side, and I got to make sure to turn this sideways. I'm going to put this part in, heat this up. Shove it in. And then lock it down. Let me see if I can shove it in a little bit more. About ½ an inch. Yes. Now you just tighten it in, and it's not going anywhere. All right, now I have my tee here available to take my irrigation tubing with the holes. Now remember, this has no holes in it. I am going to get the tubing with the holes. Right here. Okay, I've decided on how much I need, and here is the last hole. So that's really good to locate your last hole, and when you cut, you want to cut away from the last hole. So you take your cutter, and I'm about 4 inches away from my hole. There you go. And then I am going to go ahead and put an end here. And I'm not gonna lock it tight yet because I'm not sure exactly how long I need this, but this is just gonna keep the dirt out of it while I'm working. And then I'm gonna take the other end and I'm gonna put it in the tee. I'm gonna go ahead and heat this up again. Put it in. It's amazing how well it goes in. And then lock it tight. Okay, you need a bag of these. You need these landscape pins, and you just start pinning this down. And I am going to bury this part here that does not have any drip. I will be burying that a little bit. But for right now, we're just figuring out how we want this to lay. Okay, so I have my irrigation tubing all in, and I ran it for about an hour trying to get this nice and moist, and I think we're ready. And now I am going to put in the seeds. So zinnia seeds want to be about 6 inches apart and about 1/4 inch deep. So I have this little Sharpie I'm going to use as my dauber to make my holes, and then I will just put the seeds in. Alrighty, here we go. Okay, so I am going to start putting my holes in, and we are going to go as quickly as we can and get all of these in all 3 of my little beds. So here we go. I'm putting about 2 in each hole. And I will definitely cover these because the squirrels will be digging. For some reason, they love to dig wherever I've been working. So I'm going to put a screen over this whole thing. Okay, so I have put them all in, and I will water them regularly, probably every day, because the temps are getting hot, the wind is blowing, so I'll come and water them every day. And I have found in the past that when they're really small, that they really do get attacked by every little bug that loves to eat on these. So I will be spraying them pretty heavily with neem oil, and if that doesn't work, I'll get some BT, Captain Jack's, and keep spraying them, and that seemed to work. So I want to make sure that I've told you about this moisture meter. This is a really great product. You get these on Amazon, and I will link this below in the description box. But it is amazing. It's like a meat thermometer. You just stick it down into the plant, down into the soil, and it lets you know, this little hand will either say dry, moist, or very wet, letting you know when to water. So I've been watering this potting soil for a few minutes, hopefully getting it nice and moist, and sure enough, we are good. It's right in the center, which is not too dry and not too wet, so it's perfect. All right, so I'm going to set this aside, and this is coconut coir, and I get this, or cocoa liner, and you can get this at most any garden center, Hobby Lobby, Michael's, and it's a really great product for hanging baskets. The problem is the water drains through these so quickly, and in our area, it's almost ridiculous because by the time you've watered, the plant is dry again when it gets to be 90s and up here. So what I do is I line it with a black trash bag, putting a few holes in, and that way when the water drains, it will be much slower, and I won't have to be watering this plant every day, but maybe every other day. Another thing I'll do is I can add a drip system into the pot, which will help it water whenever I water other things. The drip will drip right into the pot. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to use this one. This one still has a good cocoa liner in it, so I don't need to use this one. I have some bigger wire baskets that I will be potting up later. So I'm just going to open this up and lay this bag in here. And while I've got it just like this, come closer and let's look down inside there. I'm going to punch 2 or 3 holes there to make sure that this drains, because I sure don't want it to rot. There. Okay, so now I've got my holes in there, and now I'm going to add my soil. So this is potting soil, and I'm going to fill up my basket about halfway. And I'm going to take my plant, and I am using asparagus fern, because asparagus fern is really tough and will get really big and gorgeous and hang down and look really fabulous, and is also very drought tolerant. So if something happens and I don't get this watered regularly, it really won't care. It will make it. So this is one of the toughest plants that you can put in a hanging basket. All right, now I'm going to keep filling it up. And pack it in really tight, and then I'll cut off the excess bag. I'll give it a nice drink and make sure that it's draining, and I can hang it under one of my trees. I have a lot of oak trees out here, and it'll look really beautiful hanging under from the bough of one of the trees. And now I can just tuck this in, and you won't even be able to see it. Okay, and in about 2 weeks, this asparagus fern will really fill out this pot and look great. I'm going to hang it from one of the trees, and it'll look wonderful. Another choice that's also really tough, that's going to be nice and it fill out and look wonderful in a hanging basket is a spider plant. It's also called an airplane plant. It has these long tendrils and they just look really good hanging underneath a tree. Both of these want dapple shade, or they can even take full shade. So this looks kind of puny right now, but I will add some fertilizer. I'll add some magnesium water, which I'm going to do next to all my ferns. And that will really help this beautiful new plant fill out and just be fabulous all summer long. Okay, and the last thing we're going to do today is we're going to fertilize my Kimberly Queens, and I have a foxtail fern in the back, and of course those new asparagus ferns. So they all appreciate some magnesium. And the easiest way to get magnesium for your plants is with Epsom salt. So I have a 2-gallon container of water, and I'm going to put in a tablespoon and a second tablespoon, so it's 1 tablespoon per gallon. Stir it up, make sure you get it all dissolved, and then I'm going to add a gallon to each one, and then I'll repeat this on the plants in the back. Because I trimmed my Kimberly Queen ferns all the way down before they went into the garage this year. And they're coming back, they're looking good, but I need them to speed up. So I'll do the one on this side. And this will really give them a jump start. And now I'll go do the ones in the backyard. So I will end this video standing in front of my beautiful super Zinnias. I hope you all can find some. They're not readily available yet, but if you see them anywhere, grab them, because they can take the full intense summer sun here in Central Texas. Okay, well, thank you so much for watching. I hope you get out into your garden today. There's plenty of things to do to get your garden refreshed for spring. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.